could add $50,000 a month or more this year, 2026, would you do it? Humans develop what's called operational tunnel vision, and that's where the brain filters out anything irrelevant to the task at hand. Here's the amount of time that it takes for us across that entire process: 2 hours. This is including the discovery call. This is including proposal reviews. This is all follow-ups. This is building proposals. This is building tray placements. This is all of it. 2 hours at absolute max. Let me ask you a question for this podcast. Man, if you could add $50,000 a month or more to your pest control business this year, 2026, would you do it? Would you do what it takes to add that? And what if I told you that it was a lot easier than you thought it was, right? Would that be interesting to you? Well, today we're going to talk about 5 different things that you can do to add at least $50,000 in bird control revenue to your pest business this year. $50,000 a month, not, a year or every couple of years. $50,000 a month or more. In fact, check out this stat. The average PMP walks past somewhere between $50,000 and $150,000 a month in bird work. $50 to $150 a month. Now think about how many other services that you've got to do, add like all that kind of stuff right now to generate $50,000 to $150,000 a month in additional revenue, right? I guarantee you when you go through, it's like, man, I have quite a few. I'd have to do this with the route, and I'd have to blah, blah, blah. I'd have to add these and do all this stuff or whatever, right? And it does sound pretty difficult to do that, right? And I'm going to give you kind of the easy path here, okay? Most PMPs don't scale bird, not because the work isn't there. They don't do it because they're practically blind to it. What we're going to do today is we're actually going to help lift some blinders off. In fact, in 25, we actually documented 3 different PMPs who added over $300,000 in revenue by doing nothing more than training techs to look up, take some pictures, send them to the office. I'm going to give you some basic tips here. In fact, I've even seen companies go from 1 to 2 bird jobs a year to 10, 15 plus per quarter with the exact same customer base. I mean, think about that. Growing it using the same customer base, the commercial base that you're using already, right? So today, here's what I'm not doing. This is not going to be some like motivational speech or say, hey, you can go crush it in 2026. It's not going to be that. It's going to be a blueprint that keeps you from leaving 6 figures, at least 6 figures on the table this year, okay? So let's go ahead and go through 5 different things. And the first one is avoiding opportunity blindness. We've got to avoid opportunity blindness. Here's what generally happens. Techs don't look up. And because of that, it's costing companies 6 figures a year. Let me tell you a story really quickly. There was a company in Kansas. They had about 11 opportunities on a single block that happened here over this last year. Small crew in Kansas. They sent a tech out for after a 15-minute look-up talk. And what a look-up talk looks like in real life is something like, hey, look at these areas. You've got your guttering up here. You've got these soffit areas. You've got these ledges. You've got canopies and all sorts of these areas in the upper areas where the birds are. Look up, look for those things. And also, by the way, look down. We've watched guys where the rodent bait station, they're going to refill that station, and there are bird droppings on the rodent bait station, and they won't bring up that information to their customer at all. They just let it go. It's like there's just blindness to it or whatever, right? So look up and look down, look for the debris, look for feathers, look for nesting materials, look for droppings. So that's what they did. 15-minute talk. It wasn't a super long talk or anything like that, right? They gave that to the tech, and then they sent him out, or that service specialist, they sent him out. In one route on one street, he documented 6 different ledges that had pigeon loafing activity, 3 different AC units that had issues with droppings, and then 2 different canopies that had nests as well. They had been servicing that same block for years. That was on the route, just regular stops that were there. They closed about $27,000 worth of bird work in 14 days. 27,000. So that's the interesting part. It's only like 10% of companies are doing this work in the first place, right? Maybe 15%. And so what's happening is these customers are just living with the problem. You guys know this if you're in bird. Usually what happens is that problem starts small. It gets bigger over time, right? And so next thing I know, it's like the customer is desperate for a solution because they've been living with this problem so long. It's like, wow, no wonder on a block like this, they were able to close $27,000 in like a couple of weeks, right? Here's the science. I'm going to give some of this. I'm going to give you guys science and scale data for each one of these points really quickly. This is why techs oftentimes don't see the signs. And this is cognitive science behind it. Humans develop what's called operational tunnel vision, and that's where the brain filters out anything irrelevant to the task at hand. So they get so narrow on a task that they don't see anything else that's happened. I don't know if you guys have ever had that happen before, where it was like maybe you got up in the morning, brushed your teeth, took a shower, got dressed and all that kind of stuff and whatever, and then you got to, let's say, the office or something, and then you were like, how did I get here today? Like, I don't remember like brushing my teeth. I don't remember putting my clothes on. Like, I don't remember really the drive. I don't remember any of that stuff. I'm just like here, or I just kind of going through those pre-prepared motions or whatever, right? Well, operational tunnel vision can cause us to do that. Now, I'm not saying that we should be inefficient in the way that we do things. I'm just saying we've got to add something else to what we're looking at. It's like, if my task involves this thing, I need to also be looking for this thing. If the tech was trained, for instance, to spray for things, let's say spray to prevent spiders, the brain literally blocks out bird signs as irrelevant noise. And the only way to fix that is just by training and practice. Do that 15-minute talk. Do that. You might have to, if you're a manager and you're working with a team and you're trying to get them to look up and look around a little more, you might have to give that talk, every week, every couple of days or whatever. Just a couple of minutes to draw attention to it, show them what to look for, show them things to look for, where the bird's coming from, where they're going to, right? You do that and you retrain the brain. Let me give you guys some scale data here on this. Based on statewide route density, a PMP servicing somewhere, like if your pest control company is servicing somewhere between 500 and 800 stops a month, you're walking past somewhere around 50 to 80 bird opportunities. 50 to 80, about 10% is what that comes out to at your existing with your existing customer base. And those are going to be, the bare minimum is $5,000. But let's use a range of $5,000 to $12,000 in these bird baiting opportunities. That equals between $250,000 and $960,000 of missed revenue annually. Now, especially those of you guys who are working in more corporate companies, think about this. For whatever reason, for your branch, for your region, for your district, whatever it is, for some reason, your numbers year over year, the goal that gets set by corporate never goes down. Surprise, surprise, right? It's like, more? Like, we got to make more revenue this year than we did last year? Okay, right? So you guys may be thinking right now, like, how do I find that revenue? And I'm telling you, this is the easy answer to help you find that revenue that you're looking for. So like a weekly 5-minute lookup calibration can help fix this. Again, I said it could be every couple of days. And then here's an easy practical thing. You could have your techs, your service specialists, take 3 pictures while they're on site, just to train them a little bit, right? Take pictures of the roof line, take pictures of signage that's out there, and take a picture at the ground where there be ground droppings. Just 3 things, just the roof line, signage, and the ground where you see droppings. Do that. You could do that for a month or 2, but if you do that with your techs, this is really practical. You will train them to start to look for those things because they have to bring those pictures back, right? So have them do that, okay? Here's the second obstacle that we can see pop up. Guys that are like, man, I'm too busy. I don't have time to go out and do bird bids. They think that it takes, guys will think that it takes all day. And for some guys that are doing these bids, it may end up being an issue where it's taking all day. And I'm telling you, if it's taking all day, if it's taking you 4 hours, if it's taking you 2 hours of site or survey, it's taking too long. I'll say that again. If you've got to survey a site and it's taking you a couple hours to do it, it's taking too long. Let me actually talk through some of this stuff. I had a company recently who lost a $40,000 job because they delayed bidding. What happened is it was a large property manager, PM. They touch base with the PMP. They ask for help. They say, hey, we can get somebody out sometime next week. Schedule fills up. They can't quite get out there. So the company calls a competitor. Competitor actually gets out there pretty quick, helps gather data, and then get a proposal to them really quickly. They signed up for a $40,000 job within about 24 hours. Now, I get lead times oftentimes take longer than that. But I'm just saying, like, what if there was one or two opportunities this year that are that 40,000 or whatever, right? Well, you just added 80K inside the revenue that you need to add, right? If just from walking away a couple of those, right? So we want to treat these opportunities right. Let me show you guys kind of the science behind this speed to quote effect. Independent research shows this. Proposals that are delivered within 24 hours close at 4 times higher rates. 4 times higher rate when the proposal gets delivered within 24 hours. Proposals delivered within 7 days lose more than 60% of the close probability. And this is from the time of interest, right? So think about it. The customer reaches out, and you might look at this. How many times does your customer, this may help you in your general pest business too, how many times does a customer have to try and get a hold of you before they actually get a quote? Right? Before they actually get something out of you. How long does the scheduling take, right? The faster you can be on that, the faster chance you have of this thing closing. After 10 days, if it takes 10 days, the job is practically walked away. And that's generally how this works. Here's how our close process works here. It's discovery call, then proposal, then follow-up, and the job close, right? Here's the amount of time that it takes for us across that entire process. It takes 2 hours. This is including the discovery call. This is including proposal reviews. This is all follow-ups. This is building proposals. This is building tray placements. This is all of it. 2 hours at absolute max. Does that sound amazing? Yeah, absolutely. And we can help get your team there for sure. Not 4 hours, not 8 hours, not a whole day, 2 hours, and you're closing. Think about it. That's a pretty good trade. 2 hours, close at least 5K. 2 hours, close 40K. 2 hours, close 15K, right? That's a pretty great system, right? And so you got to make time for it. You've got to have your blocks for your proposal building, for follow-ups, for all of those things, right? Because if you don't do that, that's going to keep you from getting it. So that's number 2. Item number 3 here is fear of actually doing these baiting programs. And fear from doing these type of programs is going to come from like old stories, miseducation, lack of confidence, right? Lack of experience. That's going to keep you stuck. In fact, there was a crew up in Illinois that we had happen here recently where the company avoided these baiting programs for about 5 years due to fear. They had heard some bad stories, they blah, blah, blah. Well, one of their customers said, we want bird control, and we heard about this Avitrol stuff, and that's what we want. We want this baiting program. We don't want anything else. So they were kind of painted a corner. It was like, well, either we could say no to our big customer here and potentially lose the account to somebody else coming in who's going to do it, or we can figure it out. So they reached out to us, and they finally took our certification program, okay? Now, they went and they ran a job with it, and this was their words after their first treatment. We wasted 5 years. This was easier than anything we've ever done before. I can't believe we did it. Did this job, no incident, no kill. I mean, just absolutely amazing, right? And they avoided that for 5 years because they heard some old stories, right? Because they had a bad experience. I love that old movie quote. I had a bad experience. It's like don't let that's on a comedy reason for a comedy movie for a reason. Don't let this be like a comic tragedy for you. I'm just telling you, don't let that stuff stop you. Let me give you the science why fear spreads in pest control. Fear spreads faster in industries that have high regulatory complexity, which we do, high risk perception, which we do, chemicals and other things that we're doing, lower personal experience. Think about there are a handful of guys that are in the industry that come in their second and third generation, or guys that have been doing it 30 plus years or whatever, right? But most of the guys that are in the industry have cycled in within the last 2 to 5 years, right? And so there's not a lot of experience, so you're relying on stories, over relying on sort of war stories instead of data. Here's some of the data. Again, I said that average low side, bird jobs are going to bring in at least $5,000 gross, these baiting programs. The average route territory in 2 to 4 counties is 40 to 60 opportunities annually. 40 to 60 opportunities annually is pretty awesome. Which means that if you're avoiding these baiting programs, you're losing at least $200,000 to $600,000 in lost revenue every year. And for a lot of you guys, I mean, think about, for instance, especially if you're smaller at a branch level or something like that. Think about your termite division. That actually might be the entire termite division of your branch, of your location, service center, whatever it is, right? It's like, wow, that would be like us cutting the service off entirely. That's crazy, right? The opportunity's there, so it's not, oh, I don't have any opportunity. It's just I'm afraid of the opportunity, right? Here's what we do. We train you guys, and we support you guys on the whole thing. Man, we'll help build proposals for you. We have guys that are on with our people all the time. They're doing FaceTime calls while they're dealing with it. Guys are texting birds saying, hey, what about this bird? What is this bird? Can you do something for this? What about this problem? Blah, blah. We will walk you through. In fact, we will provide you with a sheet and then walk you through it, even trip at a time if you want. But it even tells you how much pre-bait goes in each tray and when, how many trays you need, what your timing, when you should go out during the day, when you should pick up or move, all that kind of stuff. Plus, we've got products like Easy Blend that are designed to limit the amount of active that's out there. And a lot of guys are doing these treatments with no mortality. We've got a lot of things that are designed to limit risk. And so if risk is still a concern for you, forget about it. It's really not an issue anymore. You've just got to know that you're supported all the way through and take advantage of that support. Okay. The next item is not having a simple operating system that can keep you from blowing up your bird business here this year. Bird work dies when a system collapses at a weak link, right? There's one company in Texas I'm thinking about where they really did everything right? They prospected pretty well. They closed jobs, right? They did all these things, but when it came down to it, they didn't actually put the bait in the trays and the timing that they were supposed to. Right, so here's a simple part as a part of the system, just to give you guys an idea. And we talk about this on our certification program. So if you want more, I'm just giving you a little bit of information. But if you want more, you can go take our certification program. I think you can find that on the homepage of our website, or if you're working with one of our reps already, you call them, talk to them, whatever. They can help you out there. But the way that it works is after you get 50% feeding on the untreated grain, you come in with the active bait, right? From a proposal standpoint, you're talking like a 4-week proposed pre-baiting time frame and then another 4-week proposed active baiting time frame. So 8 weeks for clean out proposed. But I've seen these jobs done in as little as 5 days before, because if you come in with your pre-bait and let's say you're going to go out there every 3 days, so twice a week, and you go out there after your first pre-bait cycle and you're like, whoa, like most of this feed is gone. You can come in live. And I've seen teams do that. They go in after that first one, they come in live, and boom, after that first rotation, all the birds are gone. And it's like, wow, like that was amazing. So sometimes that does definitely happen. And so what can happen, though, is guys can have this just like stuck in their head that like this has to be 4 weeks, or I have to have all the pre-bait eaten, right? And that's what this company did. They were trying to go for like most of it being eaten. Well, it took them like 8 weeks to pre-bait when it should have took them 4 weeks or less to pre-bait, and they lost a bunch of margin, right? And then it was like, man, that was a lot of work and not a lot of margin. We need to reassess like this program and what we're doing. Should we keep it going? They started dragging their feet on opportunities, right? Losing opportunities, right? And they lost ground is what ended up happening. So one little system gap destroyed, stop making up words here. That system gap destroyed the entire operation for the year, set things back for the year. And you don't want that to happen. Let me give you guys some science on why processes are required to scale. Operational research shows this. A lack of standardization is what kills your ability to scale a program, to get a program big and bringing in that revenue. Companies that use checklists produce 38% fewer operational errors, and teams with documented systems scale 6 to 8 times faster. So some of you guys may deal with like hiring issues or may be concerned about growth and fast growth because you're going, man, like I don't know that we can handle the load, we don't have enough people, blah, blah, blah. The problem is not people. The problem is systems. I'm going to say that again. The problem is not people. The problem's systems. If you get the right system in place, the right system in place for hiring, the right system in place for onboarding, the right system in place for the timing of the visits, the right system in place for prospecting, for getting these leads and for closing these leads. If everything about the business becomes a system, it runs like a fine-tuned machine. And so now everything is predictable. Your revenue is predictable. The output from an operations standpoint is predictable. Your QC and what that looks like on that process, right, becomes predictable. Your regulatory compliance, all of it becomes predictable when you add the right systems and we get those in place. So companies that follow our system have a tendency to close jobs somewhere around almost 2.5 times faster. They make fewer compliance errors. They get fewer callbacks. And then they retain clients for 3 to 5 years instead of one-off treatments. That's at minimum 3 to 5 years. I've got companies that have had companies on BRRRR programs for 15, 20, 25, 30 years, just regular recurring revenue, right? So it's like that system really looks like, let me get those leads in. Let me do now I get handoff from marketing over to sales. And again, I'm just giving you basic information. We do have programs that actually help you with this stuff, right? But the marketing side, let's get those leads in. All right, now let's do our discovery call. We're gonna actually do something in discovery calls, just fact finding. We're gonna figure out what's going on. We're gonna build some value. We're gonna build some trust. Now let's go and do a proposal review call where we get in there, we review everything, we talk logistics, like all that kind of stuff. And then next we're gonna follow up. We're gonna get that to close. Once that closes, I've got to know where my trays are going. And so I need to break that up to about 10 birds per tray, somewhere in that time frame. Or sorry, somewhere in that in that number, right? So 100 birds, 10 trays, 50 birds, 5 trays, 1,000 birds, 100 trays, right? I got to put those trays near where the bird activity is. So I've got my tray placement plan. I've got my pre-bait schedule. I'm going out once a week or twice a week, just depending on the proximity. This is what we recommend if the location is 45 minutes or further away from your nearest service center. You should probably go out about once a week to pre-bait. If it's within 30 to 45 minutes from your service center, you should go out once every 3 days. That's basically about how you should break it down. But it's like I am just putting the Avitrol untreated grain in those trays, creating that feed acceptance. Then from there, I've got my 4-week live bait time frame. Generally, it's overnight rotations, right? Bait goes down around sunset, gets taken up somewhere a little after sunrise, within a couple hours after sunrise. That's usually how that's going to happen, right? And then from there, after the birds are gone, monitoring program, trays get checked once every 30 days for signs of activity. In trays that are there on site get reduced by about 75%, right? So if I had 100 trays, I'm going to pull that down to 25 trays, right? And it's like, okay, about a quarter cup of grain or so, half a cup of grain is going in each one of those trays, checked every 30 days for signs of activity. And that's it. That's the system. It's super simple. Lead, close lead, operational system, boom, the whole thing works. And because that's a system, it makes it really easy to express when you're communicating that to a customer, and easy to express makes you look more like an authority in the eyes of the customer. Okay. Last one I'm going to give you is treating bird as one-offs. Now, this is a big one. Treating bird control like one-off. I get 1 or 2 bird controls calls a year. I get, this every 5 months, I get a call or whatever it is. And this is a profit killer across the industry. In fact, I'm thinking about a PMP in Florida who turned one job into 9 different jobs. Here's what happened. It was a strip mall. It was a pigeon job, and they followed the system. Here's what they did. They got it, and then they noticed, hey, there are other sister properties around. So they actually talked to their customer that they landed this one job for. They asked for referrals. They started touching base with those sister properties with similar buildings. They documented their before and after at that one job, right? And then they started sending bird pressure information to each one of those locations. They closed 9 additional jobs in 60 days. 9 additional jobs in 60 days. That was $88,000 from a single $8,500 job. First job, $8,500. The other jobs ended up being around $88,000, $90,000. Same month, same city. All they needed was a pipeline that went through. They had to really just think that thing through. So same thing. If you've got multi-location deals, right? It's like, let's say I've got a Home Depot or a Lowe's or whatever it is, right, in my city. Then all I've got to do is go, well, where are these other ones? I should probably give these guys a call, or let me walk inside the store, whatever it is, right? If we're prospecting. Here's the science behind that. It's called momentum compounding. Sales data shows this. 1 proactive follow-up increases close rate by 22%. 2 follow-ups increase it by 47%, and then 3 to 5, 80%. 80%. Oh my gosh, that's crazy. I mean, what if I told you that if you put money in this one stock, you have an 80% chance of you making a significant amount of money in 30 days or whatever, right? You tell me I was crazy. You'd be like, 80%, nobody can guarantee. That's nuts, right? But I'm telling you that this is it, man. This is the path where it's like, okay, great. If I've got this pipeline in place and I do the follow-ups the way that I'm supposed to, right, and work these accounts and connect the dots and look for related sister stuff and all that kind of stuff, I've got an 80% chance, or I increase my chances to 80%, right? So bird work compounds because birds behave seasonally and predictably. Right now, we're in winter season, so you're going to get a whole bunch of those migrating birds that are coming into locations. We're about to move into nesting season. Your communication should start to shift, too, to your customer base. You should start sending stuff out or leaving materials with them that's like, hey, you notice any bird nests? This is what to look for. This is where to look for it, right? And we can help you with that materials. You just ask us for it. You can post some comments or something like that. We do monitor those, and we can get some information to you, right? But that means that bird work recurs if relationships recur. Bird work keeps happening, right? If relationships just keep happening. So after each job, contact the sister locations, hit those similar properties, ask for those referrals, right? Make sure you're getting those seasonal check-ins. Okay, here's what this means overall. If you fix these 5 blockers, you'll add somewhere between $150,000 and $500,000 in 2026 without advertising. Whoa, hold on, think about that. I didn't increase my ad spend in this area, and I added $150,000 to $500,000 in the last year. How'd you do that? My commercial customers, all I did was I looked up, noticed the opportunities, talked to them about the opportunities, got rid of that fear of growth, fear of not knowing how. I went ahead and actually beat that fear with information. I reached out. I talked. Hey, surprise, surprise. Having that conversation eliminates those gaps where we don't know, right? Eliminate that, adopted that system, right? And then all of a sudden, boom, I added $150,000 to $500,000 in the next year. Turn those texts into those walking bird radars, right? Becoming a go-to expert is what you become in your region, right? Which means then the thing is it's not wrong to want the phone to ring. The problem is, though, is if you just expect the phone to ring without establishing yourself as the expert, right? It's like, but if you do this, you start to become the expert, people start referring, and then all of a sudden the phone starts ringing, right? This is what will also happen. You'll build a pipeline that feeds you every single season. This is that recurring side of it too. The phone starts ringing and it keeps ringing and it keeps ringing. And here's the thing. You guys have already experienced this at some of your other commercial accounts too, right? Where it's like where you have become an expert or people do recognize you. It's the same thing in Bird. That's the thing that's missing. It's like you went after those opportunities. You just have to apply a little bit of intentionality to this and you'll be able to take advantage of this opportunity as well, right? Okay. So if you're serious about scaling in 2026, here's what I would encourage you. The first step in working with us is get certified. Go through the certification program. It's pretty easy. It's about a 4-hour course, right? It goes over everything, goes over the regulatory, goes over how to do the treatments, goes over selling and marketing, the whole thing, right? But most importantly, what it does is it helps you get you in contact with our support team where you're talking on the exact same wavelength. You have the exact same objective, right? And so you're coming in now with a leg up over everybody else who's not certified. And now you get to run like somebody who actually wants to win. So let's do that in 2026. Let's go through, let's set aside the excuses, set aside the barriers, and how about we add an extra, $960,000 to your business just in Bird, and then make you the go-to expert in an area where there's not a whole lot of competition and a ton of margin. What do you have to lose? Let's go do it. See you guys next time.